All right, so welcome to the gentle yoga class. I wanted to begin by lying on our backs, and then we're going to do a new breath today. You can lie with your legs flat, or you can bend the knees, separate the feet, and let the knees hang together. You know, if your hips need that. So if you're lying flat, legs are extended, palms are up. Beginning with our Shavasana pose or knees bent. When we bend the knees and let the knees hang together, it just releases the femurs into the hip sockets, and sometimes our hips just need that. And just begin to breathe. We have a new day. Anything that happened yesterday doesn't exist. We're not in tomorrow yet. We are in this 24 hours. And you made the choice to be here on your mat this morning, which is a big deal. To be able to find that time for yourself it should be celebrated. And maybe close your eyes here so you can start to pay attention to how you're breathing, how the breath is moving through the body. And so even though it's first thing in the morning, I mean, we're all in the same time zone, so it's only not even 10 after 7. That doesn't mean that the nervous system can't already be reared up and ready to go. So we want to try to keep everything as balanced as possible, even when things start to get chaotic through our day. It's kind of like a regular yoga class. We always begin with the breath, coming together, taking it slow. And then as the postures get a little bit more difficult, we use the breath to keep everything balanced, and the breath stays the same throughout. That helps us practice for this off the mat stuff. What I want to focus on for our breathing, our breath control, also called pranayama, is having our exhalations be 1 to 2 seconds longer than our inhalations. So we'll take a few more breaths, and then we're going to start counting in our heads. Your inhale might be 4 or 5 seconds. Try to get your exhale to last or linger for 6 or 7. So wherever you are, whatever number you're at, we're all going to be at different lung capacities. Just try to get that exhale to be 1 to 2 seconds longer. This is a good tool for any time throughout the day. When your inhalation is longer than your exhalation, which is flip-flop from what we're doing, you know that you're in fight or flight mode, and you can stop and take this breath control. And we'll do this for a few more rounds. If at any time or at any point you start to feel anxious or it doesn't feel right, just stop. Go back to regular breathing. And so go back to your regular breath without counting. See if you notice any changes in the patterns of the body. The body is actually pretty cooperative when we are able to stop and be aware of what's going on. It will react accordingly. And whatever is happening in the body is what will be happening in the mind. So if we can calm the body, the mind can calm down. Because I don't know about you, but even though I have a pretty, for the most part, my mind is pretty good. Things are just different right now, and there's more chatter and there's more busyness and there's more, things coming at us. So I wanted to also bring in the second sutra of yoga. This is just the book this is how we practice. And we actually have shirts coming out that say this. It's Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means yoga is actually the cessation or slowing down the fluctuations of the mind. That's the whole point of yoga. We're trying to, or one of the major points, we're trying to slow down what's going on in the mind. And that bridge to get to that place is through the breath and through the practice. We'll just stay here for just another moment. And your focus today can just be that breath. If your mind begins to wander, come back to the breath. It will always be your anchor. It will always take you right to the present moment, which will stop those fluctuations of the mind. So if your knees are bent, go ahead and straighten them. Bring the arms overhead. Let's take just a really long stretch. Lengthen out the spine. Open up the lungs. And then circle the wrists and the ankles. And then bring the arms down, bend the knees. And now we're going to hug the knees. So lift the tailbone just a little bit to get the lower back flat on the mat, and then bring the knees up towards the chest. Keep the belly soft and rock left to right. And then begin to draw circles on the ceiling with your knees. So we're rotating the hips. And just creating some heat, loosening things up. Go both directions for the circles, clockwise, counterclockwise. And then we'll come back to center, bring the feet down, and bring the right ankle to the left thigh. So doing our supine pigeon or lying down pigeon, interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. Now, if you can't get your fingers back there, that's okay. If you're feeling something with your foot down, just keep it there. But do keep this, both feet, just remember to keep both feet flexed. We want to protect the right knee joint here and keep it stable. So once you're drawing that left knee towards the body, be sure that your face is not winced or cringing. Let your shoulders relax and breathe. If your eyes are open, if you're more comfortable that way, try to just look at one spot. So we come to the mat kind of unfocused. So we have these drishtis or focus points that we stare at through each pose to help us still kind of read what's going on in the body, to be mindful. You might be feeling a stretch in the outside of the right leg, but really you could be feeling this wherever the body needs it. I've heard people feel this in all different kinds of spots, which are surprising. We're taking 3 more breaths here, just slow, steady breathing. And then go ahead and bring the left foot down, bring the right foot down. And move that knee around a little bit to loosen up the hip. And then we'll move on to the other side, left ankle to right thigh, interlace behind the leg. Now, if you need more of a stretch here, you can also bring your fingers on the outside of the knee if you already have that flexibility in the leg and the mobility in the hip. Feet are flexed, shoulders are soft. Close your eyes and find your breath. Where are you feeling it on this side? Is it different than the other side? Is it more intense? Are you able to bring your knee a little closer? All these things we're exploring with the body. Maybe you can bring the knee a little bit closer. We're taking 3 more breaths here, or just stay where you are. And then go ahead and release both feet to the floor. Separate the knees, rock the knees back and forth a little bit. Kind of like windshield wiper legs. Make sure they're separated as you do this. And then knees back up towards the ceiling. So we're going to come back to neutral and we're going to do a twist here. So just a simple full spinal twist. Hips to the left side of the mat as far as you can get them. Knees drop to the right. We're trying to get the knees stacked, the hips stacked. And then from here, you can extend the arms straight out. And if you want more of a stretch, maybe your left shoulder is all the way to the ground. You can bend the elbows 90 degrees. We are trying to keep that left shoulder heavy. If you want to look over the left fingertips, you can. If your neck's not okay with that, just keep your neck neutral, looking straight up towards the ceiling. Soften the brow, the jaw, the throat. Let the belly be soft here. Taking advantage of this twist for your digestive system, for your lower back. And for the pectoral muscles. The shoulders really feel it here too if you need it. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and extend the top leg just to get heavier on top. Let gravity kind of bring you further into the twist. And so we're a little bit deeper now. You can take your right hand on top of your left leg and we're going to take a few breaths like this. Kick out through the left heel. And then go ahead and bend the knee back, stacking it on top of the other leg. Slowly bring the knees back up to the ceiling. And then shift your hips back to the middle. And then we'll do everything on the other side. So hips to the right. Drop the knees to the left. Extend the arms or bend the elbows. You can look over the right fingertips or just keep the neck neutral and breathe here. Notice how the breath is different when it's in this twist and it's a little bit restricted. If you ever get any pinching or numbness in the opposite arm of the leg, so it would be the right arm here, be sure to bring the arm down towards the body. We don't want any numbness or tingling, or you can always support it with a blanket underneath the arm. And on our next exhale, we'll go ahead and extend that top leg, kicking out through the heel and just going deeper in our pose. So left hand is going to support the top leg. And we'll breathe here. Bend this top leg to line it up with the bottom. Bring the knees up, nice and slow. Anytime we're transitioning, that's where injuries happen. So even though this is just a gentle yoga class and we're twisting, be very conscious of what you're doing. All right, so one more time, we're gonna hug the knees and then we're gonna roll onto our side. So hug the knees, rock left to right. And neutralize the spine from that twisting. And then feet down, roll onto your side. And this is how you should always get up from anything. Use your arm to protect the lower back, push yourself up. We're gonna bring the legs out in front of us. So if you have back stuff going on here, seated forward folds are, they're kind of difficult. If you need, take the back of your mat or take a blanket, put it underneath the sitting bones. That'll help tilt the pelvis a little bit so that we can get into the hamstrings instead of the lower back. So see if that helps. Legs are straight out. We're just gonna kind of do some strengthening stuff here for a moment with our staff pose. So sit up nice and tall with your hands on either side of the body. And if your back is weak, which a lot of us do come to the mat with back problems and weak backs and the shoulder blades aren't doing what they're supposed to do, something like this is going to cause tiredness and fatigue in the back. And it's a lot, but just try to do it for a few breaths here. Keep the feet flexed. Look at your toes for a focus point. The legs are engaged and super strong. Deep breaths, just like we did in the beginning. And now we're going to fold forward. So bring the arms up. Reach up as high as you can as you inhale. And then as you exhale, start to reach forward. Once you notice the back start to round, just kind of stop there and then bring the hands down. Shoulders back, inner edges of the shoulder blades reach towards each other. Keep the feet flexed, and we're just going to take a few breaths here. If you're pretty flexible and you're able to, if you have long hamstrings, first of all, God bless you. I don't know what that's like, but chin towards the shin. So we're not dropping everything and rounding it. We're keeping the neck neutral. Chin towards the shin. 3 breaths here. If you're feeling a pull behind the knees, you'll want to back out of this, okay? And the legs are strong the whole time, so your quadriceps are engaged. 1 more breath. Inhale, look up at your feet, and then exhale, release. And we're going to do it 1 leg at a time. That was the hard part. So bend the right knee, close the knee joint, knee out to the side. And Angela, I'll have Erica, I know why you're here and what as your recovery. Angela, we'll have to talk so I can see more about your body and what you're working on. If it's low back stuff, the hamstrings are definitely a part of that. Tight hamstrings cause, tired back and all of that. So we'll have to talk. Inhale, lengthen. Let's use our arms again. And then exhale, reach forward for the foot, shoulders back. Remember, you don't have to grab the foot. My forward folds were here for a very long time. The more important thing is that you pay attention to the back. So draw the inner edges of the shoulder blades towards each other, shoulders away from the ears. We're engaging the abdominals, and breathe. Chin towards the shin. We're taking 1 more breath. And then inhale, look up, and exhale, release. Carefully switch to the other side. Bend the left knee, drop it out. Another thing that helps is getting the sitting bone more grounded, so you can kind of lift that skin back there and ground the sitting bone into the mat. Inhale, lengthen, reach up, and exhale, reach forward and down. So the other thing about doing forward folds, which you guys just stay here and breathe for a moment, your abdominals are like armor and protection for your lower back. So it's important that you stay engaged here. Don't let the lower back just be soft and overstretched. Keep everything engaged. Even the leg is engaged. So maybe touch your upper thigh, your quadriceps for a moment. Make sure that they are awake. That's the only way that the hamstrings know that it's okay to let go. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. And then inhale, look up, and exhale, release. Bring both of the feet touching at the bottoms of the feet, soles of the feet, holding onto the ankles for stability. We're gonna let the knees hang out to the sides, and we are gonna round the back here. So I want you to inhale, lengthen through the crown of your head, get as tall as you can. And then exhale, push the spine towards the back of the body and drop the top of the head towards the feet. So really let the neck go here. And then your elbows can be pushing the thighs away from you, so your shoulders can also be away from the ears. And let's breathe here. If you're able to grab on the feet and kind of peel the feet apart, if that helps, you can do that. And let's inhale, come all the way up. Use your hands to bring your knees back together. And then we're gonna cross at the ankles or sit in a cross-legged position, tip ourselves forward and actually come down onto the belly. So all the way down to the belly. All right. Use your right arm as a pillow and grab for your left ankle if you can reach it, but toes will be fine too. And even if you have to grab the pant leg, and then bring the heel towards the body. We're just going to support the neck here and let it release, because the more you keep the neck neutral, the more it can just soften instead of contract. Give it a break. And then push your hips into the mat. We're trying to stretch the front of the left leg. So hopefully you can get into that here. And if you're not feeling much, if your heel is already to the butt, you can start sliding your heel to the outside of the leg. Just be sure it's always touching, and just keep pressing the foot towards the floor. Or you can sit up and you will feel it then. And take a few more breaths here. And then we'll go ahead and release. Switch pillows, switch legs. Grab the ankle if you can. Rest your forehead on your arm, bring the heel towards the body. Notice any differences here. Press the hips into the mat. And we're just breathing. Go ahead and release. Bring your hands to the lower ribs. So forehead on the mat, hands to the lower ribs. Our elbows and our shoulders are going to scoop in towards the body. We're just going to do a cobra pose here. The tops of the feet are on the mat. Your feet are hip width apart. And just begin to press the tops of the feet into the mat to lift the knees and activate the legs. And maybe the glutes are already active here. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head as you lift the shoulders and head off the mat. Take 3 breaths here. And then rest on your right cheek. Rest the arms. We're going to do that one more time. It's a little back strengthener here. We're always adding strength with the stretching. Bring your hands back to the lower ribs. So I know it feels like, the bra strap area is the lower ribs, but it's actually not. It's a little bit lower. So be sure the hands are as low as they're supposed to be. Elbows squeeze towards each other, shoulders away from the ears, forehead to the mat. Begin to activate the legs. So knees are lifted off the floor. The butt is awake. Inhale, lift. 3 breaths here. Hands are doing some work for sure, but the back of the body is doing most of the work. and lower. Left cheek to the mat, rest the arms, and rest everything. Work hard, rest hard. We're going to come back into child's pose. So bring your hands back to the mat. Lift yourself up to hands and knees. And then we're going to bring the big toes together, the knees apart. Sit back on the heels. Walk the arms forward, forehead to the mat. So some modifications for this if you need it. If your knees are not happy with this, shift your weight forward into the forearms. If your forehead is not going down to the mat, use your fists and rest your head there. If your hands are on the mat, if you press that, you'll notice the shoulders open a little bit and just do a little bit of wiggling and moving. Maybe rock the forehead or roll the forehead a little bit back and forth. A little bit of rocking sometimes feels good, and it does release stagnant energy. But if you need stillness, listen to that and just be still. We're going to be here for 3 more breaths. Come back to that breathing we did, slow, steady breathing. And then go ahead and lift the head. Bring yourself back to hands and knees. The knees are underneath the hips. The hands are at least shoulder width apart. And really look at that, because a lot of us think our shoulders are actually closer together than what they are. I will tell you this, if your hands are too close together, that's gonna not be happy for the shoulders. You can't be too far apart. So if you're not sure, always err on the side of further apart. And the hands should be in front of the shoulders. We're gonna do our cat pose. So begin it on an inhale, lift your tailbone, drop the spine, lift your chin. And then as you exhale, press the hips towards the face, because you're going to drop the head, arch the back. And then go back and forth with your slow, steady breathing. Being sure to soften the lower back, actually all of the muscles around the spine. And then as you arch, to really separate the shoulder blades. Maybe even rock the head around a little bit. If you never came to another yoga class, this is the pose that you should do every day. This is where we want our mobility. Nobody cares about touching the toes. That's not going to help you unload the dishwasher and not throw your back out when you're 60 or 70. We need spine movement. And you can drop the shoulders, drop the hips. I'll do a couple more rounds here. And then let's meet with a flat back. When you're finished, you're just going to come to neutral spine and look straight down at your mat. And we're going to come into a little bit of a lunge here. All right, here we go. Right leg is going to come forward. So bring your right foot up towards your hands. Do that however you need to. Drag it, pull it. And then we're going to bring our hands up on top of our thigh. Soften your hips forward. If you need some cushion under your knee, put some cushion under your knee. Shoulders back. I'm going to take 3 breaths here. Now, if the knee is over the ankle a little bit, that's okay. Your hips are behind the knee. They're lower than the knee, so this is okay. But still press all 4 corners of the front foot. See if you can stay here for 1 or 2 more breaths. You're squeezing the thighs towards each other, paying attention to the breath. And then shift the hips back to where we began. Inhale, bring the arms up. And then exhale, start to twist to the right. The left elbow is going to come to the outside of the right knee. And we have prayer hands. So our hands are together. We're revolving to the right. If that's not an option, just keep your left hand down by the knee and you could twist that way. Wherever you are, we're going to take 3 breaths. And then go ahead and start to revolve back to center. Bring your hands down to the mat. Bring the right leg back, left leg forward. Bring your hands up to your thigh. Start to shift the hips forward. And what makes this more challenging isn't just the balance. You know, you're staring at one spot on the floor. Isn't just paying attention to, am I breathing? But we're staying nice and tall in the shoulders, keeping the chin up and the shoulders back. Go ahead and shift back to center. Inhale the arms up. Palms together. Exhale, revolve to the right. Elbow on the outside of the knee or hand on the outside of the knee as we twist. We'll take a breath or 2 here. Good. Look down at your foot, untwist, bring your hands back down to the mat. And then bring that left leg back. We're gonna come into a downward facing dog. So that means we need to bring our hands a little bit more forward. Curl the toes under and lift the hips up and back. Your knees can stay bent here, not worried about the knees. Let's try to get the tailbone lengthened up towards the ceiling and line the ears up with the inner arms. So from here, pedal the feet as if you're walking. Stretch the calf muscles, press the heels towards the floor, go up on your toes, do whatever movement here feels good. We're still pressing the entire palm into the mat. So pay attention to that. And then look up at your hands. We're going to start to walk forward. So get up towards your hands, however you need to do that, keeping the knees bent, of course. And then exhale, fold. Drop the head. We can separate the feet and grab opposite elbows and maybe dangle here for a moment. And I'll tell you, I've been doing yoga for over 20 years now. My knees are still bent, especially if it's first thing in the morning when my hamstrings are tight. So don't ever worry about doing that. See if you can let the upper body feel like it's kind of pouring out of the pelvis. And are you letting your neck go completely, or is the head still wanting to see what's going on? Take one more breath here. Bring your fingertips back to the mat. Start to lift the head now on purpose. And then bring your hands to your shins. As we move our way up, nice and slow, since we were just upside down, we want to keep the back nice and flat, keep lengthening through the top of the head or the crown of the head, and keep the shoulders back. Bring the hands up to the thighs. And then slightly bend the knees, inhale the arms all the way up, palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. You have to go?
I do have to go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Again,
Have a good day.
appreciate it. You too, hon.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. All right, so Erica, I'm just going to talk you through a couple of sun salutations because I know you're familiar with them. So come to the front of your mat. Begin in mountain pose, so drop the hands. Good. Inner edges of the feet are parallel. Lift the arches of the feet, lift the heart, soften the shoulders. And even here, see if you can let the arms dangle as much as possible and let the shoulder blades do the work. And then go ahead, inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Full exhale, move with the breath. Good. Inhale, look up. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale up. And exhale, take it back. You can choose down dog or child's pose for 5 breaths. 1, lengthen the sides of the body. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, look up, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Palms together. And we're going to exhale and go right back down. So exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back, lower down, chaturanga, come all the way down to the floor. And then inhale, lift to a cobra. And see if you can spread the collarbones and bring the shoulders back a little bit more. Yeah, good. Yes. And it's weird because the shoulders are internally rotated, but you're opening. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, look up, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Okay, let's take a wide stance on the mat. Right toes out first. So right toes out 90 degrees. And it's going to be a wide stance because we're going to do warrior 2. So your heel is lined up with your heel or arch. And then the back foot is parallel. Go ahead and press into that left hip to bend the knee so the knee is lined up right over the toes. Left shoulder back, extend the arms. Look over the right fingertips. And then the left hip usually has to drop a little bit more. So see if you can find that. And then we'll move here, palms face up. Inhale, straighten the leg, bring the hands together. Exhale, come down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Bring the hands to the waist, and then we're going to just kind of adjust here. So instead of bringing the feet together, just kind of bring this left foot closer to the edge of the mat, and we're going to bring our hips forward. So just adjusting the feet a little bit, and then grab the elbows behind your back. The front leg is going to stay straight here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold over your right leg. Drop the head. Remember, you have 2 feet, so put weight in the back of the body too. Shoulders stay back. And then press the feet away from each other. Inhale, come up. And exhale, come back to the front of your mat. Shake that leg out a little bit. Come back to your wide stance. Left toes out this time. Press on the right hip to bend into the left knee. And the knee doesn't go over the ankle. Right shoulder back, extend the arms. Look over the left fingertips. Just kind of find your alignment here. Engage the abdominals. And then flip the palms up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale down. See if you can make the breath last the whole movement. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Hands to the waist. Adjust your stance so the hips are facing what it might be the back of your mat now. Grab the elbows behind the back. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Front leg stays straight. So this is called Parshvakonasana, but it translates to intense side stretch. So hips are as parallel as possible to the floor because the right hip is going to want to stay lifted here. So we have to keep deepening that left groin. Take one more breath. And inhale, come all the way up. Back to the front of the mat. Shake the legs out a little bit. And then one last time, take a wide stance. Toes pointing forward, hands on the waist. We'll get into the back of the legs here because I'm pretty sure your hamstrings get pretty tight. Yeah, and you're standing all the time. So let's just do a nice big forward fold. So inhale, lengthen. Nice strong legs. Exhale, send the hips back, the heart forward. Fingertips to the floor or a block, or hands to the floor, drop the head. If you're noticing your weight is back in the heels, shift your weight forward to the front of the feet. And just let the upper body pour forward as the legs stay strong. See if you can get your head to feel as if it's dangling from a thread. One more breath here. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bring your hands to your waist. Inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, just bring the heels in. Okay, walk the feet together just a little bit. Inhale, bring the arms up. And then palms together. Exhale, let's come down into a squat. So elbows on the insides of the knees. Lift your heels if you need to here, but try to drop the tailbone completely. You're just going to take a breath or two here, opening the hips. And then go ahead and bring the hands behind you for support. And have a seat. We're going to lie down. Keep the knees bent. And then once you're lying flat and you feel like your spine is good, then just straighten the legs to give your hip flexors a break. Maybe take a stretch. We're going to do one more leg thing here. We've already done our back bends. So bring the arms down. If you have your dog leash or a belt or something nearby, you can grab that, but I'll just give you an option if you don't have that. Okay. So the left leg will stay straight and your left hand is going to stay on top of the left thigh. Grab your big toe if you can. You know you've done this before. And if the knee is bent, the knee is bent. Just keep pressing through the heel. And if you're feeling it in the back of the knee, which you're obviously very knowledgeable about the body, then just go ahead and bring your hands behind the knee and lengthen that way to stay in the muscle. And so I do want to bring the leg out to the side. So even if your knee is bent, grab your big toe and bring it out to the right. Try to keep the left hip on the floor. I have a wall here, so mine will look different than yours. And go ahead and come back to center. And then we're going to switch hands. Extend the right arm and take the outside of the leg and just cross the center line a little bit to get into the outer right leg. And then come back to center. Grab your leg with both of your hands. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, bow to the shin. And release. Other side. Grab the left toe or interlace behind the knee. Press up through the heel, soften the shoulders and the face. And then go ahead and bring it out to the left. And then back to center. Grab the outside of the left shin and cross it over the center line. Back to center. Grab your leg with both your hands. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, lift. And release. Bend the knees up to the chest. Hug the knees left to right. And if you want to go into happy baby from here, you can. So grabbing the insides of the legs, pressing the knees down. If you can reach the feet, grab the bottoms of the feet and press the knees down. And then when you're done, go ahead and bring the knees back together, drop the feet, and we'll get ready for Shavasana. So if you feel like you need another twist or another stretch, go ahead and do that. And if you want to get a blanket or a sweatshirt, do that too. And once you're ready, arms are down, palms are facing up, about 6 inches away from the body. And use this as your opportunity to let go. You have a lot of people that you take care of. You have a lot of things on your plate. Put all of those things in a little pretty box right now and imagine yourself putting it up on the shelf. And when your mind wants to open that box, make it clear that these next few moments are for you, for stillness, for breathing, and for observing. And just allow yourself to be for the next few moments. Bring awareness back to your breath. And allow your inhalations to begin to deepen. When you feel ready, you can begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, bringing slow movement to wake the body. And then maybe moving into the wrists and the ankles or rocking the head back and forth. Bringing it into any other movement that might feel good. And then keep the legs heavy. Bend the knees one at a time. And slowly roll onto your side. Use your arm as a pillow. And we'll pause here. Just let everything stay soft. Let the belly hang to the floor. And then press yourself up to a seated position. And we'll close out class. Thank you for letting me guide you today. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Thank you. Thank you so much.